Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Get that a little organized. So, yes, I did take a week off from making one of these videos. Sometimes, life happens, so I had a busy week, and I just didn't have time to get to it, especially because I had to figure out and coordinate all of my travel to the Drake Relays. So, I put off making a video about the Indiana State University's Gibson Invite, and as it turns out, that was probably a smart idea because I learned something and I implemented it, and now I have something to talk about. At least a conclusion to the story. And so I feel like throughout all of indoor season, I feel like there's something been missing in my jump, and I've been really focused on all the little things of technique. And now that I'm this far into the season, all those little things of technique, they're pretty good. So I don't have to think about like the little picture anymore. Now it's like I'm zooming back to see kind of the big picture, like what all is going on overall. And when we go through the Indiana State University jumps, because we are going to do both in this video, we're going to do both. I am probably going to zoom out and not talk so much about specifics of the technique, like what I tend or used to do during the indoor season. This is now more of themes. So we'll get into it, but I want to try to keep myself to the big picture themes rather than get into the nitty gritty, because I do really enjoy, I know this is maybe weird to say, but I really enjoy getting to watch my jumps and see how my season's going, because I'm a fan of myself, right? Who's not, as an athlete, not excited to see, how you're doing and how you're progressing and what you're working on and getting to see it. I don't know. I think that's normal. Anyway, this is just normal speed. With this one, this is actually the second jump of the competition. The first one, I tripped right about the time frame of this. Here, let's see. Put it back to where it was right about this step. I tripped, and then these two steps, I was just trying to not fall down, and then I fell in the pit and I rolled over my head and stuff. But I wouldn't mind showing you the video. I think that would be actually really interesting, but no one got it. There was no video. The person that was taking the video took a photo instead and then deleted the photo. So then when I went back and I was looking through the deleted, the recently deleted, it was like, Garland, there's just a photo here. There's no video. And it was live photo. So it's like I kind of, pressed it down and I was watching it go, and it did the first 5-ish steps and then stopped. So it's right before I fell down. I didn't get to see it. It's fine. But in that, I slowed down. And I know, just with how this is cut, in order to be able to see it, you can't see the back end of it. You can only see the curve. But it's I know I slowed down because right after you fall down on your face, the next time you go to do it, it'd be weird if you were just as gung-ho as before. So it's inherently, I just slowed down, and what that did, you've already watched this jump several times over. I achieved really good angles on the entry and exit of takeoff, and I had sky high on that bar. And then also, it's going through that just briefly with all the form, it's all of those angles, all the positions of my arms and my legs throughout that whole spot, the head hip height, all of it's good. I like it. But it was just almost such a foreign feeling to be that bouncy, that quick. So again, in a competition, I didn't really give it that much thought, but it's to me, yes, this is running a little slower than normal, just a little. To a lot of other high jumpers, this might be still very, very fast, but again, I had a good bounce, an excellent bounce, great running out of the back. It's a little slower, but still great incoming angle, great outgoing angle. it might not have been near as high as the first jump, but that's still a nice little bounce. And that's what I was feeling for, was like the bounciness of the jump. And this one is a slow motion for some reason. So we'll get there eventually. It was like I had great angles, but I think by the time I got here, I overdid something or something. So it's like I don't know, I fell down on the bar. I've noticed I needed a little more space when it was that I slowed down. For some reason, when I slow down, I need a little more space. So it's like now I'm like a little over 52, and this day I was a little under 52 foot back. But yeah, it's just not as much of a bounce on that one as before. I mean, it still had decent height, but it was so early, I just hit it with my head and shoulders on the back side of the bar. All right, so then this was the second attempt at that bar. And again, we're back to a good bounce. We had such a nice push out on the curve. Again, because I could handle that force because I didn't overdo it in the back. And I'm coming through here with such a great angle, good outward pushes on a bunch of stuff, great incoming angle, great outgoing angle, and then that knee drive just lifted my hips way over the bar. And, that's a great, hip head angle over here, this one right here. This knee's all the way down, and then I just follow it through with even better as we're still going. Like, that's perfect. Okay, so then after that, the bar goes up, and I would say I pushed out a lot harder out of the back. And what that did to me was it looks like I have great angles and everything, but by the time I got here, it's like maybe that extra speed made it to where I didn't have the strength levels, or I didn't have the ability to really handle this part of takeoff as well. And one thing of it too is, like, with pushing out a little more in the back, like, I could feel a slight difference in my curve when I was going around the curve. So like by step 7, it's like I could start to feel a bit of a difference on what these jumps were versus the previous jumps. So this is my second attempt, and it's still just like throughout the curve, like, to a lot of people it looks so similar, but to me and how it felt, and whereas pushing off my feet felt so different, it just did not feel like I was set up the same. And whenever I hit that, I just blew right through my takeoff. Like, even just how fast I'm going towards the bar before I'm going up, there's not really that bounce up. It's like, yeah, the tendony kind of response, I didn't set it up well for the tendony response. And this one, it's like you see that knee drive and how it just disappears. Yeah, that's bad. But again, I got out of the back really hard, and I'm going around the curve super fast, and it's like, I'm not setting things up right. I'm falling out of the curve into this takeoff position, and like there's a lot of things that look really great, but like it just did not hold. So then my takeaway here is maybe, and I didn't think about this until like Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. I was like, well, maybe I need to slow down a little bit. It seemed like right after I fell on my face and I was a little more hesitant, a little slower, I was able to achieve some really good bounce, which is honestly what my jumps have been missing. And so I practiced that a little bit at practice this past week, more on the short approaches than the full approaches, because it seems like, again, full approaches, I jump just as high as I do on the short approaches, it seems. So, and they're slower. It's so weird, but it's like, you hit that curve just so nice on those short approaches, and you bounce so well. So I'm like, I need that. So I decided for this week at the Drake Relays that I would run a little slower. And I would have to say it did take me a little bit to like get into it. I mean, I didn't know how slow to run, but then also just in general, like the warm up, and I was thinking at the beginning of my warm up, like, oh my gosh, like this has got to be a jump day. I don't know. I don't know if I can make it a jump day. So it's like this one didn't have an incredible amount of bounce like the other ones did, but like, yeah, there's still like an inch or two here between me and the bar. But goodness, like even after this first one or so, I was like, and I want to jump really high today. Are you sure? But I started to find a little bit of a rhythm, and so that was it too. Gartland wasn't there, so I had Steve help me out with this. So Coach Steve was talking about, getting a nice rhythm. It's just like, the words that he was saying, like, it made a lot of sense. So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. And some of them, I kind of lost my curve a little bit, and I think this is one of them where I lost my curve just a little bit, which, again, when you're playing around a speed, it's not always a given, and it's not as practiced as it should be. But here I feel like the curve isn't, it's like it starts well, and then it like lifts up for a moment, and then we're back to being like on a deep curve. So I think this is the one. I mean, it's been a day. This was yesterday. Anyway, there was one on one of the second or third bar where I came in really parallel, but I still made it over. I still got decent height, but it's like, this is just so much bouncier of a jump than all of indoor. So I was just extremely happy to have finally like found, oh, this is what I'm missing. This is great. And this is also somehow like, it sometimes takes this long to figure it out. Okay, so it's like, when I'm running, I'm not like super toey, but maybe this one's the super flat one. This looks a lot flatter. All right, well, anyway, it was still this incredible bounce that I had, and this knee drive. You can kind of see the knee drive from the angle that Steve's at, where like, it doesn't go forever high, but it still lifts up for a long time before it's time to go over the bar. Oh, and I felt on the warm-ups, I felt extremely rushed, and like I had to be super anxious on getting over the bar. And what I did to fix that was I scooted about 6 inches back. So that's what I was saying earlier of at the ISU, I was 52, like I would say maybe 51.8 or so. And then before I started this competition, I started at 52. And then I think I moved back about another 2 or 3 inches even as the competition was going, because I kept feeling like I'm a little close. I need a little more time to be getting over these bars. So then here we've got a little miss, and still it was just the idea of like getting into a nice rhythm and getting into this nice curve, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But one thing that I thought was super promising, well, this one we can see already. I've told you before, whenever I jut that foot out, when we got this weird body angle going on and then a straight up angle, that's going to kill any jump that I ever have. But we'll go ahead and look at it. All right, so it's like, it's still kind of bouncy. The leg, you see how the leg just like disappeared? The knee drive went away pretty quickly. But even with that, like I felt like I was almost over it. Like I just barely hit it with my hamstring on the way over. So it's like, it gave me a lot of confidence to attack the attempt number 2 with a lot more vigor, and like, keep your rhythm, really hold tight on this kind of thing, because like there's nothing stopping you from getting over this bar and or the next one too if you get things back in line. Like, this is not the end, right? This is just a 1x on your way to another clearance, right? That's the mindset that I had. It wasn't, I know a lot of people, whenever they get one scratch at like a decently high bar, they're like, I am done. But how many athletes do you see that get a high bar on their third attempt and then get the next bar on their first attempt? So many of them. So don't discount yourself. Don't take yourself out. So this is my second attempt at it, and I thought I did a much better job. Oh yeah, we had throwers walking in front of us, but I thought I did a much better job of holding on to my rhythm and holding on to a nice curve and being bouncy. And so I was really impressed by a couple things on this jump. Well, not only was it that I made it over, and that was really nice, that made me very happy, don't get me wrong, but it's like I had a lot of things aligned. That step out, you can't barely see it. It's not as bad as the one before, right? The one before, it had a huge angle out. I would say my leg was more like up here rather than here, but yeah, not the greatest. But when I got that foot down, and yeah, we're back in frame, we're good. Watch that knee drive. I mean, you can see the bottom of my foot right now, so it's like in a second you should be able to see my knee, and watch and see how high that drives before anything else really happens. So it's like we got this knee drive, and I'm still driving, and okay, now I'm gonna use it to push my hips up. So it's like now we're using it. And like, I can't tell how much height I had over that bar. I know it bounced a little bit, so it's like I know I touched it, but I thought I touched it like late. See, like it's bouncing a little bit on there, but yeah. So anyway, I was so happy. I was like, okay, that's how I want to run. That's how I want to grab the curve, and that's how I want to bounce off the ground. This is fantastic. And then the bar moved up, so that was 179. This is 182. So I was trying to, keep replicating that. And just as you saw in fast motion, or at least I hope I stayed in frame on that fast motion, I kind of hit the step 9 a little hard, a little jank to the side. I was trying, but a little too heavy. So then here's my second attempt. Again, that thrower. So yeah, again, to me, this is running slow. Like, I am trying to run slow here. But with it, I mean, I don't think, this step out is not as bad, but it's not exactly what I want to be seeing there. I think on a couple of them, Steve was like, that was really pronounced. I think that was his word. I'm like, yeah, I do that sometimes, and I don't like it that I do that sometimes, but I do. So anyway, I had most of my body over it, and I just kind of, I clipped it hard at my butt, but, well, I still wanted it, and I still tried on my last attempt. But I think that was my worst attempt, if I'm honest. Like, yeah, you see that I'm like really out of frame. Let's see if I can fix this for this jump at least. Will it go? No. Why is it stuck? There we go. That might help us for a moment. Okay, so that's a really nice lean, I'd say. Like, that's decent. Like, that's actually a really deep lean compared to what I thought I was doing. But regardless, it's like I'm in this lean, and then it's like I'm running forward and then trying to hit a really hard angle. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like I definitely screwed myself over on this step number 9. However you want to describe it, step 9, bad. Because whenever it was that I hit step 10, all of a sudden that knee drive, it goes down. I don't like that. That's bad, right? That step I have noticed, or that knee drive I have noticed just in how I jump is when I hit the curve well, and I've got great outward pressure, and I get through my entry and exit of my takeoff really nicely, that knee drive drives, and it drives forever. But whenever it is that I screw up my curve or screw up step number 9, that's what happens. That leg, it just drops down. Right? I've been at least attempting to figure out what that is, and that's where I'm at right now, is somewhere in here I just don't have that same feeling on my curve of where I'm pushing on my feet, and then, entering and exiting the takeoff off of that curve puts me in that position. Leg straight and down rather than lifted up. And right, that knee lifted up gives me a lot of hip pop, I guess, too. I mean, with the leg down, it like locks my hip in that like upward direction. Whereas if I had my knee bent, my hips would be tilted a little bit more. So I'd have a lot more over bar mechanic ability and everything if I was able to get my hips to move the ways that I wanted to. But still, for like 5'11 and a half, like, and a bad run, I still have some decent height. So it's like, if only. If only. Okay, so the way I'm taking this is like, I need to be fast, but I might have been being a little too fast to not be in control. And so I'm going to be taking that aspect from these two meets and progressing that a little farther. I hope to be jumping at the Jesse Owens meet this next weekend, and then there's a Sycamore Open the next weekend after that. So hopefully I can, align some nice jumps off of a really, like, to me it's like an easy run. Easy run, pop over the bar, get some high bars, right? That's my goal. We'll see if I'm able to do it. I am so excited. Like, I can breathe through my nose. I don't have to have Kleenexes with me all the time. Like, indoor season was awful. But I absolutely love the fact that I'm back to normal, which normal is healthy, right? Normal is healthy and strong for me. Normal isn't broken. I hated indoor season mainly because I had to have Kleenexes in my meat bags. Like, I'd have to blow my nose in between jumps and stuff. Like, I hate the flu, but I also hate the fact that it takes me like a month to get over the flu. Anyway, I'm healthy. Things are going well. Training is back up to 100%. I'm just absolutely elated by that part because I think the other girls that I run with kind of forgot that I'm kind of decent at the running that we do for this part of season. And so when I'm actually up there and I'm like pushing them and stuff, like I almost feel as if they like think that maybe they're running slow because I'm with them. But no, I've got some speed to me, so I'm back up there with them, and I think that benefits them a little bit, but it definitely benefits me. That is 1,000% because I know that they're trying hard, so it's like if I'm up there with them, then clearly I'm trying hard too, and it's nice. It's a nice feeling to be running with other people. That's fantastic, but also to be running well with people who are also running very well. It's nice. All right. Yeah, we're going to get back into the weight room. Well, not back into we're going to keep being in the weight room. We're going to keep running hard, keep fixing this form that we've got going on here with this easy run, and we'll see what happens. All right, guys. Now that you know what's up with me, I will see you next week with an update on my running. All right. I will see you later. Bye, guys. Have a good week.